just to take a moment right now. It's today, March 19th. I believe Councilmember McShane, you celebrated 50 years. Yes. Well, as someone maybe a year and a half older than you, and having been born and raised here in the city of Salinas, just to take a moment to recognize how crucial historical setting that we're in at this moment. To bring it all into perspective, we have been in this effort to really garner the experience of our folks that are fighting for rent stabilization and protection for renters. In this effort, we have been experiencing or been able to hear and listen to many stories, and the one story that stands out reflects how extractive the economy that we have here in Salinas. One example are the application fees in which residents or those who are trying to apply for a space end up paying maybe about $50, $60 an application, and realizing that not only them, but they're also the other members of the family as well. So in one family can come in and ask for housing for one adult and one parent and three adults. They all end up paying for 4 applications. Now, just to kind of keep that in mind as we hear from our residents that have been a part of this effort. Thank you so much.
Mi nombre es Victor Mora. La otra vez que venimos entregamos 2,100 peticiones y hoy traemos otras 956 peticiones de parte de la Escualita y para el control y desalojo de renta. Hemos trabajado un poco, como se les había dicho en la otra ocasión que estuve yo aquí. Muchos no tenemos viviendas y andamos batallando, y ahorita mucha gente está sufriendo por el desalojo. Les dan 1 semana o 2 semanas para desalojar la vivienda donde viven. Queremos que nos escuchen y nos pongan un poco de su parte para a ver si logramos este control de renta y desalojo. Hemos luchado mucho todos los compañeros, agarrando las peticiones, oyendo los lamentos de todos los compañeros, personas que nos dan su información. Esto me está pasando. Estoy rentando un cuartito, pago tanto, no tengo derecho ni a hacer ni calentar una ollita para hacerme un café o algo. Es triste escuchar todo lo que, cuando ando juntando las peticiones estas, lo que te dicen en la calle. Esperemos que nos ayuden, por favor. Sería todo. Gracias. Aquí le entrego las hojas.
Good afternoon to all. My name is Victor Mora, and last time we were here, we delivered 2,100 petitions. On this occasion, we have 956 petitions we are going to deliver from La Escualita. And it's all about the same thing, rent control and evictions. We have worked hard for a lot of time. There's families and members here that are struggling. They don't have a home, and they're suffering eviction. Sometimes they get a notice and they have to leave their house in 1 or 2 weeks. So we really ask you to please listen. Please let's make an effort, because we really have to achieve this rent control and control the evictions. It's been a struggle to get all these petitions. It is very sad to hear all the sorrow stories and all the things that our community says when they give us the information. They tell us we rent a room, we have to pay this amount of money, and it's sad that we can't even go to the kitchen and heat a cup of coffee because it's not included. So it's hard to hear all these stories when we're getting signatures, so I hope you can help us. Thank you so much, and who do I deliver these papers to?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Alejo. Bueno, aquí estamos todos unidos para hacer una petición para que nos ayuden con lo que es tocante a la renta. Estamos que pueden concedernos el 2% porque no solamente en la renta, porque también tocante a las aplicaciones, porque cuando, por ejemplo, nosotros quieren desalojarnos o tenemos que entregar el apartamento o casa, tenemos que meter aplicaciones y por cada persona tienes que pagar $40, $45. Y cuando al final te das cuenta de que son ya 30 hasta 60 aplicaciones que ya la compañía tiene y nosotros aplicamos y al final nos dicen que no calificamos, ya sea porque debes de tener buen crédito y debes de ganar muy bien y luego ellos ya saben que no vas a calificar, simplemente que hacen para estarse aprovechando de lo poco que nosotros estamos ganando porque pues nosotros trabajamos en el campo y no es tan fácil ahorrar tanto dinero para lo que es la renta ahorita que ya donde quiera cualquier compañía que te parece trabajar lo que es en la agricultura, en el campo, solamente te están dando 8 horas y 5 días. Entonces, es muy difícil reunir con los gastos que tenemos de alta calidad de renta, reunir dinero para, por ejemplo, cuando te vas a cambiar, ya no vas a contar, ya contando arriba de $6,000 para el entre, porque te cobran el entre, el depósito y un mes extra de depósito. Entonces, queremos a pedirles que tengan un poco de consideración en todos nosotros que día a día estamos aquí tratando de sacar nuestra ciudad adelante y para el bien de todos nosotros. Gracias, muy amable.
Good afternoon. My name is Alejo, and I'm here with a petition from all of us. We really need help regarding the rent. We need it to be at least just 2%. And the thing is that one of the problems is that when we get evicted and we have to look for another place to live, we have to pay application fees. And those application fees are $45 to $50 per person. And when you suddenly realize there's 30 or 60 people that have submitted their application, and they tell you then that you're not eligible because maybe you don't have a good salary or you don't have a good credit score. And they know from the beginning that you're not going to be eligible. They know that you're not going to be able to rent the house, but they still take your money. For us, it's hard. We work in the field. It's hard for us to get enough money. And right now, the field, we're just working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So it's really hard to pay our expenses and gather enough money to move. Sometimes we need like $6,000 because they ask for down payment first month, and it is really hard. So we want to ask you to please take a little bit of consideration for us that we are working day to day, trying to get this city to be better and for all our well-being.
Todos, mi nombre es Jesús Estrada, un organizador de Centro de Abogacía de la Comunidad, y el día de hoy pues traigo a 1,029 firmas solicitando una estabilidad de renta y protección contra desalojo. Mucha gente tiene ese problema y la mayoría de los trabajadores están viviendo en mala condición, pero también cuando quieren desalojar a los inquilinos, lo desalojan sin previo aviso, ¿sí? Es uno. El otro, la renta es altísimo, es muy caro. Hemos oído historia de varias personas que trabajan en el campo, están pagando hasta $4,000 por un mes de apartamentos de 2 recámaras. Tenemos esa historia y tenemos el lugar. Creo que es algo que ustedes como autoridad, como concejales, pueden hacer algo localmente, y también pues como CCA estamos trabajando con varias iniciativas a nivel estatal, estamos apoyando. ¿sí? Entonces creo que yo pienso que ustedes pueden hacer algo que ustedes tienen control en su mano localmente y creo que lo pueden hacer sobre estabilidad de renta localmente y protección contra desalojo. Ese es el problema más grave que hemos oído aquí. Y aquí traigo la lista de todos los distritos de cada uno de ustedes. Aquí está, aquí lo van a ver, si lo van a ojear. Gracias.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Jesus Estrada, and I'm an organizer with CCA. And today I am presenting 1,029 signatures. These signatures are for rent stabilization and for protection against eviction. This is a big problem, problem, and it's really bad for us because most people live in very bad conditions. And even though they live in bad conditions, regardless, when they're going to evict them, they don't even give them a notice. And another problem is that rent is really, really high. We hear stories about the people that work in the field, and sometimes they have to pay $4,000 a month for rent for one apartment, two-room apartment. So we've heard a lot of stories, and I think the council can do something about it. Maybe locally, CCA, we're working with a lot of initiatives at state level. So I think you guys can support this. I think that council member, the council can do something locally for rent stabilization and to protect us against eviction. And this is a list of all the people that have signed. Thank you.
Staff just handed me a note. I know we have quite a few people here for rent control. The Housing and Land Use Committee will hear a presentation on it on March 26th. So that's just.
Yeah, I'll buddy you on a community meeting around tenants' rights. And also, just for your knowledge, at our next Housing and Land Use Committee, we're going to discuss rent stabilization and tenant protections.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Teresa Merino. Soy originaria de Oaxaca y estoy aquí representando a la comunidad chatina. Yo hablo chatino. Estoy aquí pidiendo para que ustedes pongan atención de que aquí también hay mucha comunidad que trabaja en el campo, que en este tiempo no están trabajando, pero la renta se les sigue aumentando. El contrato les llega, pero en inglés. No toman en consideración que ellos hablan otro idioma, que el contrato ni siquiera lo pueden entender. Y asumen de que ellos entienden lo que se les está cobrando y ellos, como no tienen manera de cómo pedir o dónde pedir ayuda para que no les suban la renta, ellos lo pagan porque no quieren ser desalojados. Estoy aquí pidiendo para que haya un control de renta porque los niños merecen crecer en un lugar saludable.
Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Merino, and I'm from Oaxaca. I'm here representing the Chatino community. I speak Chatino, and I'm asking for your attention. The field workers, that work in the field, they can't really afford to pay the rent. They receive the contracts. It's in English. They don't even understand the contract. And people assume that they understand, but they don't even know where to go for help. They just pay whatever they tell them because they're afraid of being evicted without even understanding what they're paying for. So we do really need rent stabilization, eviction protection, because our children deserve to live and grow in a healthy environment.
You know, at the beginning of our meetings, we always get a big group of people, Mr. Pia. Today we heard from CCA 1,029 signatures. From Escualita, 3,000 signatures. You know, we live in an awesome place. I hear that Salinas Valley feeds the world at certain months of the year. But our 4 billion plus agriculture industry creates jobs, but at the same time, people come for a better life and then they find out it's hard to live here. So we end up in hardworking people getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, but they live in poverty. They're coming for a better life. And you know, we hear about rent stabilization. People are in conflict on both sides, but people just want to hear something. You know, and I think these folks that are coming in front of us, even though maybe we can't solve the issue, but we have a lot of housing projects being developed, but it's a very small dent. We have reached out Councilor Sandoval and myself to the state officials, Caballero and Rivas. I would just, and I don't know if I need buddies, but I would like to have a community meeting just to give answers, you know, whatever it is. People are desperate to hear something. And I heard from somebody here, the city may not be able to solve the problem, but maybe some of our good friends in Sacramento can help us at least giving them some answers, because you know what, there are signs of desperation. For that one gentleman to say, man, I'm renting one room for over $1,000, but I can't even make coffee in the house, that's sad. So I'm gonna ask, we need to move on this for a community meeting, just to give some answers.
Yeah, I'll buddy you on a community meeting around tenants' rights. And also just for your knowledge, at our next Housing and Land Use Committee, we're going to discuss rent stabilization and tenant protections.
Yes, so, and plus then I think, and thank you for that, Councilor Rocha, I think we got some awesome people in Ms. Brenton's staff that can really help us with that. And you know, this is just to give these people answers of, not that we're going to solve their problems right now, but I think they're at that point. And I'm going to ask for your help, Mr. Pia. Maybe the bread box will be a good place. I don't know.
Hi, my name is David Leva, and I was raised in Salinas many years, and I seen a lot of things growing up and changes. And I see renters struggle and struggle and struggle, and it's hard because I'm a renter now. And for one room, you're paying over $1,000, and like people say, they're unable to use the kitchen or laundry room. And you see, a couple times, I lived in a trailer or motorhome, and it had rats, it had stuff unlivable, no water, unlivable conditions, and reported to the city, and the city told me, well, you'd have to get a list from your renter, and maybe he can fix all the issues. I said, we tried that, it doesn't work, and I got no response. So we moved out, and now we're renting again, much better conditions, but my fiance and she lived in a garage, and the water was running through the floor, and no lighting, no unlivable conditions. There was no windows in the garage, not even in the opening the door. There was no windows. Everything was black, and that's why we're here. And a lot of time, and we went also for looking for a room for her, and the lady presented, you two have to get a tuberculosis shot from the hospital in order to rent. And I was like, first time in my surprise, I'm like, what? So, but yeah, I've seen a lot of changes, and it's getting worse. So I plead for your help. Thank you.
I want to first start off by saying thank you to two people. McShane, thank you for your apology. I was not here, but I was informed of what you did. So many people think you were wrong, and some don't, but I did. But either way, thank you for that. Orlando, thank you for this weekend and being on Facebook and interacting with the community, which is something that the community needed for a long time from either one of you guys. By doing that, it shows your interest back in the people, and I personally appreciate that. Kimberly, as you could see, I made a shirt in representation of the misuse of decorum that you use. On April 28, 2015, there was a revision made regarding the procedure and guidelines of the public decorum. Not only have you misused it, you take away our First Amendment right, and two, you put us in a position where you could shut us down, remove us, ban us, and even have us arrested at your discretion. I want you to know that after today, every meeting that I attend and or watch, I'll be making sure you do not abuse your privilege. Nowhere in the revision does it say I cannot address any of the council by their names, which is when you use decorum. And you do that, you've done that to me twice, only because you didn't like what I had to say, or for that matter, you don't like what anybody has to say, you throw out decorum. So no, I will be looking into how I will be able to hold you accountable for that. And speaking of accountability, let's talk on you and McShane. The two of you had requested money throughout the years to be approved for the nonprofits you both work for and make over $100,000. My question is, when asking for approval of the money for your nonprofits, do you remove yourself from the rooms? Political Reform Act prohibits a public official from using his or her official position to influence a governmental decision which he or she knows or has a reason to know, and she or he has a financial interest.
Thank you.
I'm looking into that.
Hi, Mike Bassetti, work for Cushman and Wakefield here in town. And I've sat here and listened to a lot of people talk about rent control. And, rent control will not solve the problem because it doesn't go to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is there's just not enough housing units here in Salinas. When's the last time a subdivision has been built here in town? It's been over 10 years. Here several years back, to his credit, Andy Myrick, who was at that time the economic director, called our office because we talk to home developers all the time, home builders, talk to a lot of business people. And he asked a very simple question. He goes, tell me why aren't home builders building here in Salinas? Because we have such a need. There's such strong demand from our town. We need more homes. Why aren't they building? And these are the questions that you people need to be asking, because this is the root of the problem. Why aren't they building? Why aren't they providing more homes to our city? If you have adequate amounts of housing, you have no need for rent control. But there's a dearth of housing, not just in Salinas, it's all over the state of California. And I think the municipalities are going to have to ask themselves some hard questions. Why aren't they delivering more homes to California? Because we certainly have a need, right? We have a tremendous need.
Hi, Wes White, Salinas Monterey County Homeless Union. We're still doing sweeps, and we're spending an awful lot of money on ourselves, pushing other people around. They're too poor. They have no stature. They're not even renters. They can't even cry for rent control. They can't cry for taxes to become homeless. They're already there. We need to allow them to have the housing they're providing for themselves to be somewhere. We're floating around a thing for a CARS card. If you've signed up for CARS, HMIS, you have a case manager, then you should be afforded an address and you should be afforded police protection, not police persecution. They're your residents, and we're going to drive them up to vote too. That's going to be Orlando's district, I suppose, overall. But they're everywhere throughout the city. They're everywhere throughout the county. This was a major claim 10 years ago that nobody wants services. Yes, they do. What they want is support. They need a firm foundation. They need just a little bit of structure if you're worried about trash. Organized space. We're going to put it up, to where we're supporting people with the union, with bedside commodes, stoves, and bottled water. We're going to do support like you were doing during shelter in place. And that's actually what we need to get back to, if not better. Running water and electricity, generators, be able to charge cell phones and laptops if that was affordable, to get a job. Because there's no way, unless you survive electronically or on paper, unless you're like a shareholder, your worth is diminishing by the day. And it's all wealth inequality. We're not doing it right. We need to take care of people. You need to stop the sweeps and actually validate your residents.
My name is Shasha Sage, and I'm here on behalf of the homeless, considerably. I have been in California now for 5 years. I came here for 2 days 5 years ago. Here I am today. I have seen so much happen, and I have done so much for the people in the streets. I think because for what I do and for what I can do, I think there's a whole lot more that can be done by the system. Because people are people, they're humans. Each person is somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's friend. And I'm sure that nobody here would like to know that they're homeless, or to even the feeling of knowing that you're going to be homeless. I am homeless, but I'm not homeless. I am homeless because this is something that I want to do. I want to identify with the people to see what goes on. And so I go out and I communicate with them, I reach out to them, I pray with them, I cry with them. And they're happy to have people like that and to do that. And I don't have money, I don't get a paycheck, I don't have anything coming in. but I do what I can do with on my walker, even on my walker. So I think there's a whole, I know, not I think, there's a whole lot more that can be done. I had a guy tell me some days ago that he was going to commit suicide. And just by me going out and talking to him, he didn't do it anymore. And so, please, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. Help the people. Do better. Take some time out. You will feel better. Thank you so much. God bless everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else in the chambers wish to comment in public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and go to Zoom. Any member on Zoom wish to comment in public comment, please use the raise hand function. All right, Robin?
I know that many of you on the council are in support of our public art program, and I'm calling upon you to help me better understand the allocation of that $100,000. Right now, it seems to me like we have a critical need for more affordable housing, funding for public safety, and our roads and sidewalks. My goodness. I'm not an attorney, but it is foreseeable to me that not making these repairs opens the city up for numerous liabilities, for trips and falls, auto accidents. And I find that very concerning. Listening to these shares of these individuals who've come before you and have so many signed documents to support them, I truly hope that this council will find a way to make it a priority to write and implement an appropriate ordinance, because property managers and landlords in this county are ruthless.